The Game Boy was one of, if not the most successful handheld consoles ever conceived by Nintendo. Released in Japan in 1989, the Game Boy revolutionized gaming on the go for most people, albeit the screen being monochrome. The Game Boy's factor was more cost effective compared to its competition and sold almost 119 million units worldwide, making it the fourth best selling system ever conceived, which also, funnily enough, followed by a redesign which was the Game Boy Pocket, which was a rather smaller system and favoured AAA batteries rather than AA batteries. Fast forward to 1998, when the Game Boy Color was released, and it competed with other handheld consoles like Bandai WonderSwan and the Neo Geo Pocket Color. The Game Boy Color was similar to the Game Boy, but it was in colour as the name implies, and of course the top selling games on said consoles were Pokemon. Surprisingly, this is not about Pokemon, because this is a different video. Now that's established, let's talk about today's topic: fighting games. Yay! Now, the topic of this video is regarding bootleg games, surprisingly. Bootleg fighting games, and what good story is there without context? We are talking about a developer that are from Taiwan known as Vast Frame, who are unlicensed developers of handheld games that was founded in 1998, headquartered in Dali District in Taichung, Taiwan, and developed a lot of bootleg games with stolen sound engines from Mega Man 5 and so on, and like so. We are to see 3 games that uses the Takara King of Fighters engine. I think you all know who Takara is. Good. The Takara King of Fighters engine was developed by Guybrain for official ports of SNK's very own King of Fighters 95, 96 and Real Bout Special for the Game Boy. Vast Frame would use this engine to program 3 games that I'm going to mention and give mini reviews. So with that being said, I'm going to jump right into it right now. Okay, so the first game we're going to be looking at is Super Fighters S. Super Fighters S, or Super Fighter 99, was based off the official King of Fighters 97 game, with rosters based within that game. So, looking at it from first glance, you can see it's a 2D fighter, not really much to say. The character roster is pretty interesting because it actually splits up the teams instead of having random characters from every team. The only ones not set to teams in this game were Iori or Shingo, who did not have teams in the King of Fighters 97, and additionally Rugal serves as a final boss. Now the game, it does control well. In fact, it controls like how it should be with a King of Fighters game, which surprisingly is really good for a bootleg. Obviously you can have 2 buttons, being the punch and kick, press them together. AB in left and right makes them do the special roll as you would see in King of Fighters, and also has another function which is kind of based on King of Fighters 95, which I'm not really a fan of, being the psych up mechanic, where holding A and B with the addition of the down button charges up your attack, which is a theme you'll see surprisingly with these games. But I feel that Psych Up in this game feels a lot more friendlier and accessible. Now, with these games, graphically, the sprites actually do look pretty decent, as most of them are redesigns that do not appear on any official ports. Now, the backgrounds are quite colourful and pretty to look at, although static and it just feels like just a plain background. It doesn't really have anything special going for it like parallax scrolling. But also, if you noticed with the sprites, they tend to flicker a bit, which is no surprise. But other than that, for a bootleg game, this is still rather impressive. I wouldn't say the best game, but good enough. Let's go on with the next one. Following November 2000, Fast Frame had another fighting game using the Takara King of Fighters engine, which takes a lot from both the King of Fighters Game Boy games and SNK's Gal Fighters for the Neo Geo Pocket Color. Anyway, same could be said here about the game, as it is pretty much a 2D fighter. Controls feel the same, still has that A-B roll with the Psych Up meter. In this game there are 16 characters within a roster, each with their own original designs, and graphically it looks decent. You know, saying that, the sprites kinda remind me of Gal's Fighter, surprisingly, but it's more of a redesign rather than it using, well, official sprites, except for a character called Dina who kind of looks like Morrigan. But anyway, within this game, just like the last one, I noticed it reused some stages from Super Fighter S, and of course there are some flickering sprites. Another thing I've noticed, which I'm sure you are all aware of, is that sometimes there is a little warping here and there near the black borders of the game when you move, and frankly I do find that a little bit jarring, but whatever. As for the game, it's actually pretty good and overall decent. I would genuinely recommend. Next game. I was going to originally add Super Fighter 2001 Alpha, but for some reason it did not want to work on the emulator, which is surprising. Oh yeah, that reminds me, I am using an emulator to record the footage and I don't have a modded Game Boy, so apologies in advance. Soul Falcion is another bootleg fighting game using the Takara King of Fighters engine, so expect AB rolls, psych meter, but this one's a little bit different because it is a 2D weapon fighter based on SNK's Last Blade and Samurai Showdown, with the addition of the stolen sound engine from Mega Man 5. Now, roster wise, 20 characters with sprites from Last Blade and Samurai Showdown. The sprites are a little bit smaller and recoloured, and out of all of them, of being the characters, so to say, I quite like Nakaruru. Oh, sorry, Lulu, who surprisingly, when I was playing this, is the most broken character here. I wish I was joking, so I'm just going to let you guys watch this clip. With that also being said, graphically it is fine. I wouldn't say it's not the best looking game, but it is bearable. The backgrounds, well, it's a far cry better than the previous two, but again, there's not really much variety considering the nature of this game. You know, wouldn't this game be more fitting if it looked like it took place in, I don't know, 18th century Japan or Korea, but an aquarium and a city? That is just odd, not gonna lie. But as for a game, I would say it is decent for the most part. Now this one is going to be a pretty hard ranking because if I had to pick these games like in any order, it's usually how I feel about these games as a whole. But honestly, since these play like SNK fighters, I'm inclined to say they are all good. But however, that would be a defunct point. So here is where I would place them. In third place, I would actually say Soul Falcion. There is nothing really wrong with it, and there isn't. It is a good game, but personally, it's just something I would not play like I would with Last Blade. In second place, I would say Super Fighter S. It has all that needs to be a good King of Fighters like game, with the sprites almost looking similar to the game. I think the thing that kind of lets it down is pretty much the fact that I don't like the backgrounds much, but other than that, it controls well. And in first place would be Queen Fighter 2000. Now, I am objective with this one because I am a sucker for Neo Geo Pocket Color styled sprites as much as I am a sucker for primarily all female cast fighting games. So with my give and take, I'm going to say the winner is Queen Fighters 2000. Overall, the games are fine. They are not a hallmark of quality control, but for bootlegs, you'd expect some buggy, unplayable mess that was pretty much nothing more than a quick cash grab for some. But Vast Frame, as a developer company, really understood the assignment and made something that was well playable. And for that, I salute them. Unfortunately, Vast Frame ended its run 21 years ago and are no longer around. And it's a shame because given their knowledge of these games, if these guys could have continued making games for the Taiwanese markets, they would actually be around And it wouldn't surprise me if nowadays that these people who were in Vast Frame are out there in the video gaming world still helping and making video games. And if we're going to be speaking about Taiwanese games, perhaps one day I can talk about this game. One day. One day. Anyway, if you liked what you saw and you want to play the games, I will be providing the links to the ROMs in the descriptions. Give me a like and a subscribe, it would really help the algorithm. Follow me on Instagram if you so choose to. And that's all. I am Nate. Have a good day.